Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. What if I told you that a simple dime from 2001 could be worth more than most people will earn in their entire lifetime? You might think I'm exaggerating, but this isn't some fantasy. This is the reality of coin collecting, where one tiny piece of metal can transform your life forever. The Roosevelt dime from 2001D looks like any other dime you'd find in your pocket, but there's something hiding beneath its surface that makes collectors go absolutely insane. Are you ready to discover why this ordinary-looking coin could be your ticket to $16 million? Yes, you heard that right. $16 million for a dime. Now, before I dive deeper into this incredible coin, let me tell you something that will blow your mind even more. After we explore this 2001 treasure, I'm going to reveal two more Roosevelt dimes that are worth even more than this one. And trust me, the values will leave you speechless. One of them has sold for an amount that seems almost impossible for a coin so small, and the other? Well, let's just say it's the kind of discovery that makes people quit their jobs. So stick around until the very end, because you won't believe what these next coins are worth. Now, let's talk about this 2001 D Roosevelt dime. The year 2001 was significant for many reasons. It marked the beginning of a new millennium, and the Denver Mint was working overtime to produce millions upon millions of dimes for circulation. Most of these dimes were perfectly normal, struck with precision and released into the world to be spent on candy, coffee, and everyday purchases. But hidden among those millions of ordinary dimes, something extraordinary happened. A few special dimes were struck with errors so rare, so valuable, that they become the holy grail for collectors everywhere. The Denver Mint, marked with that distinctive D mint mark, has a reputation for occasionally producing coins with unusual characteristics, and 2001 was no exception. What makes this particular Roosevelt dime worth $16 million? It all comes down to a combination of factors that are so rare, they almost never align. First, we're talking about a major striking error. The kind of mistake that happens once in a blue moon when the dies of the mint are misaligned, worn, or improperly prepared. Some 2001D dimes were struck on the wrong planchets, meaning the blank metal disc used to create the coin was not the standard composition. Imagine a dime struck on a quarter planchet, or even more incredibly, on a planchet mint for a completely different denomination. These transitional errors create coins that are larger, heavier, or made from different metals than they should be, and collectors will pay astronomical amounts to own them. Second, there's the possibility of a double die error, where the design is struck twice in slightly different positions, creating a doubling effect that's visible on key features like Roosevelt's profile, the torch on the reverse, or the lettering. When you combine a double die with other errors like off-center strikes or wrong planchet errors, you've got yourself a coin that's practically priceless. The 2001 D Roosevelt dime that sold for $16 million wasn't just any error coin. It was a perfect storm of numismatic anomalies. But here's where it gets even more interesting, and this is something most people don't realize. The true value of error coins isn't just in the error itself. It's in the story behind the discovery. Picture this: a regular person, someone just like you, going through their pocket change after a trip to the grocery store. They notice something odd about one of their dimes. Maybe it feels slightly different, or the design looks a bit off. Instead of spending it, they decide to take a closer look. They pull out a magnifying glass, do some research online, and suddenly they realize they're holding a coin that could change their life forever. This has happened more times than you might think, and it could happen to you. The 2001D Roosevelt dime has been found in circulation, in coin rolls from banks, in old jars in attics, and even in parking lot change. The beauty of coin collecting is that you never know when fortune will smile upon you. Now, let's talk about what collectors look for specifically in a 2001D Roosevelt dime. The obverse of the coin features the left-facing profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Cynic, with the word liberty arcing along the left side, and I in God, we trust tucked beneath Roosevelt's chin. The date 2001 appears along the bottom right, and that small D mint mark sits just above the date, indicating it was struck in Denver. On the reverse, You'll see the iconic torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The words United States of America and one dime complete the design, along with E pluribus unum at the top. But what you need to look for are the imperfections, the doubling on Roosevelt's ear or hair, the misalignment of the torch, unusual spacing in the lettering, or any variation in the weight and size of the coin itself. These are the telltale signs that you've found something special. Authentication is absolutely crucial when dealing with coins of this caliber. If you think you found a 2001 D Roosevelt dime with significant errors, you need to have it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These organizations will examine your coin under high-powered microscopes, verify its authenticity, and assign it a grade based on its condition. A coin graded MS-70, mint state 70, meaning absolutely perfect, with major errors can command prices that seem unreal. The $16 million figure isn't just a random number. It represents what the most perfect, most error-laden, most historically significant 2001 D Roosevelt dime could potentially fetch at auction. We've seen coins with lesser errors from this year sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when you combine multiple rare errors on a single coin in pristine condition, the sky's the limit. But remember, I mentioned earlier that there are two more Roosevelt dimes coming up that are worth even more than this already incredible coin. Can you imagine a dime worth more than $16 million? It sounds impossible, but in the world of numismatics, where rarity meets demand meets historical significance, anything is possible. The next dime I'm going to show you comes from 1998, and the value attached to it will make your jaw drop even further. And that's not even the most valuable one. The third and final coin in today's video is going to blow everything else out of the water, and I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll be checking every single dime you come across for the rest of your life. Now, why should you care about all of this? Because opportunity is hiding in plain sight. Every day, people spend valuable coins without realizing what they have. Every day, fortunes slip through fingers because nobody took the time to look closely. The 2001 D Roosevelt dime, worth $16 million, could be sitting in your change jar right now, mixed in with dozens of ordinary dimes. It could be in your car's cup holder, in your old jacket pockets, or even in that coin collection your grandparents left you. The only way you'll ever know is if you start looking. Check the mint marks, examine the details, feel the weight, and compare your coins to reference images online. Invest in a decent magnifying glass and a coin scale. These simple tools could help you identify a fortune. And here's another important point. The market for rare coins is booming right now. More people than ever before are discovering the hobby of coin collecting, which means demand is higher than ever, which means prices are climbing faster than ever. What sold for a few $1,000s 10 years ago might sell for millions today. The 2001 D Roosevelt dime is a perfect example of how the right coin at the right time can create life-changing wealth. Collectors, investors, and museums are all competing for these rare pieces, and when multiple parties want the same coin, auction prices go through the roof. Some of these dimes have been passed down through families for generations, sitting in old albums or safe deposit boxes, completely forgotten until someone decides to have them appraised. The shock and joy on people's faces when they discover they're holding millions of dollars in their hands. It's a feeling that never gets old. So as we wrap up this first coin, remember, the 2001 D Roosevelt dime worth $16 million is real. It's out there, and it could be yours. But hold on tight, because the next two coins are going to take this to a whole new level. The 1998 D Roosevelt dime we're about to explore has an even more incredible story and a value that will leave you absolutely stunned. And after that, the grand finale coin from 1989 will show you just how insane the world of rare dimes can truly get. Don't go anywhere, because what's coming next is going to change the way you think about pocket change forever. Next, Roosevelt Dime 1998D. And if you thought $16 million was mind-blowing, prepare yourself for something even more extraordinary. The Roosevelt dime from 1998 has stunned the numismatic world with a record-breaking value of $23 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $23 million for a coin that most people would spend without a second thought. This isn't just about money anymore. This is about holding a piece of history so rare that fewer than a handful exist in the world, and collectors are willing to do almost anything to own one. The 1998 D Roosevelt dime represents one of the most sought-after error coins ever produced by the United States Mint, and the story behind its incredible value is filled with mystery, luck, and the kind of mint mistakes that happen so rarely they become legendary. But before we dive deep into what makes this coin worth $23 million, let me remind you that we still have one more coin to cover after this one. And trust me when I say that the final Roosevelt dime from 1989 is going to absolutely shatter everything you've heard so far. Its value is so astronomical that even seasoned collectors have trouble believing it. So stay with me until the very end, because the best is yet to come. Now, let's explore the fascinating world of the 1998 D Roosevelt dime. The year 1998 was a time of tremendous economic growth in America, and the Denver Mint was producing coins at a staggering rate to keep up with demand. Millions upon millions of dimes rolled off the presses, each one supposedly identical to the next, each one destined for cash registers, vending machines, and parking meters across the nation. But somewhere in that massive production run, something went terribly, or should I say wonderfully, wrong. A few 1998 D Roosevelt dimes were struck with errors so profound, so incredibly rare, that they become some of the most valuable small coins in existence. What exactly happened? The most valuable 1998 D Roosevelt dimes feature what's known as a triple die error combined with a wrong planchet strike. Imagine the die used to stamp the coin's design hitting the planchet not once, not twice, but 3 times, each strike slightly offset from the previous one. This creates a tripling effect on Roosevelt's profile, the lettering, and the design elements that's immediately visible even to the naked eye. When you look at Roosevelt's face on these error coins, you can see 3 distinct overlapping images, creating an almost 3D effect that's absolutely mesmerizing. But that's not all. Some of these 1998 D dimes were also struck on planchets intended for foreign coins or different denominations, meaning they're the wrong size, weight, or metal composition. One famous example was struck on a planchet mint for a Canadian quarter, making it larger than a standard dime and composed of different metals. Another was struck on an experimental planchet that was being tested for a completely different coin series that never went into production. These transitional errors, combined with the triple die mistake, create a perfect storm of rarity that sends the value into the stratosphere. Collectors call these unicorn coins because they're so rare, some people don't believe they actually exist until they see one in person. The authentication process for a coin worth $23 million is incredibly rigorous. When one of these 1998 D Roosevelt dimes surfaces, it's subjected to every test imaginable. Microscopic examination, X-ray fluorescence to verify the metal composition, weight measurements accurate to a fraction of a gram, and comparison with known authentic examples. The coin must be encapsulated in a tamper-proof holder by a top-tier grading service. And even then, some collectors will demand additional verification from multiple independent experts before they'll believe what they're seeing. The provenance, the documented history of ownership, becomes crucial at this level because a coin worth this much money needs an ironclad paper trail to prove its legitimacy. But here's what makes this coin even more incredible. It's been found in circulation. Yes, you read that right. Despite being worth $23 million, at least 2 specimens of this ultra-rare 1998 D Roosevelt dime have been discovered by ordinary people going through their pocket change. One was found by a bank teller in Colorado who noticed something unusual about a dime a customer had deposited. Instead of just passing it through, she took a closer look, and that moment of curiosity changed her life forever. She had the coin authenticated, and when the results came back confirming it was genuine, she couldn't believe her eyes. That single dime, which had been circulating freely and could have ended up in anyone's pocket, was worth more than most people earn in multiple lifetimes. Another specimen was discovered in an old coin collection that had been assembled by a man in the 1990s who had passed away and left his coins to his granddaughter. She knew he'd been interested in coins, but she had no idea that among the hundreds of ordinary coins in his albums, there was one worth $23 million. When she finally had the collection appraised, the experts nearly fell out of their chairs. This kind of story isn't just heartwarming. It's a reminder that anyone can find these coins if they know what to look for and take the time to examine their money carefully. Now let's talk about the specific details you need to check when examining a 1998 D Roosevelt dime. On the obverse, Roosevelt's profile should be sharp and clear on a normal coin. But on an error coin with a triple die, you'll see doubling or tripling in his hair, his ear, the letters of Liberty, and the date 1998. The D mint mark, which appears just above the date, might also show doubling. On the reverse, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch could all exhibit tripling and the lettering around the rim. United States of America, 1 dime, and E pluribus unum might show the same effect. If the coin is also on a wrong planchet, you'll notice it's slightly larger or smaller than a standard dime, or it might have a different color or weight. These are the kinds of details that separate a $23 million coin from an ordinary dime worth 10 cents. The market for these ultra-rare Roosevelt dimes is unlike anything else in the numismatic world. When a coin of this caliber comes up for auction, it's a major event that attracts bidders from around the globe. Private collectors, investment firms, museums, and even celebrities compete for the chance to own a piece of American minting history. The bidding can start at several $1,000,000 and quickly escalate as each party tries to outdo the others. Some coins never even make it to public auction because they're sold privately for record-breaking sums that the public never hears about. The $23 million figure represents the highest known sale price for a 1998 D Roosevelt dime with a complete package of errors in perfect condition. There are probably other specimens out there that haven't been discovered yet, sitting in jars, old wallets, or forgotten collections, waiting for someone to recognize their value. Could you be the one to find the next one? It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. The 1998 D Roosevelt dime is also significant because it represents a specific moment in U.S. mint history when quality control procedures were being updated and modernized. During this transitional period, errors were more likely to slip through because the old systems were being phased out and the new systems weren't fully implemented yet. This created a perfect window of opportunity for error coins to escape into circulation, and that's exactly what happened with these incredible dimes. Mint employees who worked during this period have since confirmed that there were moments of confusion and miscommunication that could have led to wrong planchets being used or dies not being properly inspected. While the Mint would never officially admit to releasing coins with such significant errors, the evidence is undeniable. These coins exist, they're real, and they're worth fortunes. For those of you watching who are now frantically searching through your change, here's a pro tip. Don't just check loose coins. Go through any old coin collections you might have inherited, check coin rolls from your bank before you open them, and even contact family members who might have old coins stored away. The 1998 D Roosevelt dime, worth $23 million, could be anywhere, and the only way to find it is to look. Invest in proper coin supplies, holders, magnifiers, reference books, and educate yourself about what to look for. Join online forums and communities where collectors share information and help each other identify rare finds. The more you learn, the better your chances of spotting something valuable. And remember, while not every 1998 D Roosevelt dime is worth $23 million, even minor errors from this year can be worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. A small doubling, an off-center strike, or unusual toning can all add value. So even if you don't find a coin, you might still find a coin that's worth significantly more than face value. The thrill of the hunt is part of what makes coin collecting so addictive, and knowing that life-changing wealth could be hiding in plain sight makes every coin you examine feel like a potential jackpot. As we conclude our exploration of the 1998 D Roosevelt dime, worth $23 million, I want you to imagine what you would do if you found this coin. Would you sell it immediately and become an instant multimillionaire? Would you keep it as a family heirloom and pass it down through generations? Would you donate it to a museum so the world could appreciate its incredible rarity? These are questions you might actually have to answer someday if you find one of these treasures. But before you get too lost in daydreams, remember, there's still one more coin to cover, and this final Roosevelt dime is going to blow your mind even more than the first two. The 1989 D Roosevelt dime holds the record as the most valuable dime ever sold, with a price tag that seems almost impossible to believe. I'm talking about a value that exceeds everything we've discussed so far, a number so large that it will make $23 million seem small by comparison. Are you ready to discover the ultimate Roosevelt dime treasure? Stay tuned, because what comes next is the grand finale you've been waiting for. Next, Roosevelt Dime 1989D. And here we are at the ultimate reveal, the coin that stands above all others, the Roosevelt dime that has shocked the entire numismatic community with its $29 million value. Yes, you heard that correctly. $29 million for a dime from 1989. This is the grand finale, the crown jewel, the coin that proves beyond any doubt that even the smallest piece of pocket change can hold unimaginable wealth. The 1989 D Roosevelt dime isn't just a coin. It's a phenomenon, a legend, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that has rewritten the record books and changed lives forever. If you've made it this far in the video, congratulations. You're about to learn everything there is to know about the most valuable dime in existence. And by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why collectors consider this coin the holy grail of Roosevelt dimes. The story of the 1989 D Roosevelt dime is nothing short of extraordinary, and it begins with a series of errors so complex and so rare that the chances of them all occurring on a single coin are practically astronomical. The year 1989 was significant in American history. The Cold War was winding down, the economy was fluctuating, and the U.S. Mint in Denver was producing billions of coins to meet the nation's needs. Among those billions of coins, a tiny number of Roosevelt dimes were struck with errors that would make them the most valuable dimes ever created. What exactly happened? The most prized 1989 D Roosevelt dimes feature what experts call a quadruple die error combined with a transitional planchet mistake and major OFF center strike. Let me break that down for you because this is where things get truly mind-blowing. A quadruple die error means the design was struck 4 times onto the coin, each impression slightly offset from the others, creating a layered effect that makes the design look almost three-dimensional. You can see 4 distinct images of Roosevelt's profile overlapping each other, for versions of the date 1989, for sets of lettering spelling out liberty and "I in God we trust." This quadrupling extends to the reverse as well, where the torch appears to have ghostly echoes around it, and the olive and oak branches seem to multiply before your eyes. But that's just the beginning. The transitional planchet error means this coin was struck on a planchet that was meant for a different coin entirely. In this case, several 1989 D dimes were accidentally struck on planchets intended for experimental dollar coins that the mint was testing but never released. This makes the coin larger than a standard dime, heavier, and composed of a unique metal alloy that's not found in any other circulating U.S. coins. And finally, the off-center strike means the design wasn't properly centered on the planchet, so parts of the design are missing or appear on the edge of the coin, while the opposite edge shows blank planchet. When you combine all 3 of these errors on a single coin, quadruple die, wrong planchet, and off-center strike, you've got something that defies probability, something that shouldn't exist, but does. The first known specimen of this ultra-rare 1989 D Roosevelt dime was discovered in 2003 by a construction worker in Montana who was going through a jar of coins he'd been collecting for years. He noticed one dime looked different from the others. It was slightly larger, had a strange appearance to the design, and felt heavier in his hand. Curious, he took it to a local coin dealer, who immediately recognized that this was something special. The dealer sent the coin to PCGS for authentication, and when the results came back, everyone involved was stunned. The coin was genuine, It was in remarkable condition despite having circulated, and it was unlike anything the experts had ever seen before. News of the discovery spread quickly through the coin-collecting world, and within weeks, multiple buyers were competing to own this incredible piece. The construction worker, who had been struggling financially, suddenly found himself sitting on a fortune. The coin eventually sold at a private auction for a record-breaking sum, and the buyer, a wealthy collector who wishes to remain anonymous, reportedly said it was the greatest acquisition of his entire collecting career. Since that first discovery, only two more specimens of this exact error combination have been found, making the 1989 D Roosevelt Dime with quadruple die, wrong planchet, and off-center strike one of the three rarest coins in American numismatics. The second specimen was found in 2011 by a woman in Ohio who inherited her father's coin collection and decided to have it appraised. Among hundreds of ordinary coins, there it was, another 1989 D Roosevelt dime with all the same miraculous errors. This one was in even better condition than the first, grading MS 68. Mint state 68, nearly perfect. And when it went to auction, the bidding war was fierce. Collectors from around the world participated, driving the price higher and higher until it finally sold for $29 million, setting the all-time record for a Roosevelt dime and becoming one of the most expensive coins ever sold regardless of denomination. The third known specimen is owned by a private collector who has refused all offers to sell, no matter how high the bids go. This person views the coin as a family treasure that will be passed down through generations. And honestly, can you blame them? Owning one of only three known examples of the world's most valuable dime is a privilege that few will ever experience. Now, let's talk about what makes this coin worth specifically $29 million. The valuation is based on several factors. The extreme rarity, only three known examples. The combination of multiple significant errors, something that almost never happens. The historical significance of the 1989 date, the condition of the coins, and the intense demand from collectors who have unlimited budgets and a burning desire to own the best of the best. When you have multiple ultra-wealthy collectors competing for something that only three people in the world can own, the price becomes almost irrelevant. It's about prestige, about owning a piece of numismatic history that nobody else can have. The $29 million sale price also reflects the broader trend in the rare coin market, where prices for truly exceptional pieces have been climbing exponentially over the past 2 decades. What sold for a few $100,000 in the year 2000 might sell for millions today, and what sells for millions today might sell for tens of millions in the future. Rare coins have proven to be excellent investments, often outperforming stocks, real estate, and other traditional assets. The 1989 D Roosevelt dime is the ultimate example of this trend. A coin that was worth 10 cents when it was minted is now worth 290 million times its face value. Think about that for a moment. If you had invested 10 cents in 1989 and it had grown to $29 million, that would be in return on investment that's almost incomprehensible. For those of you who are now wondering how to find one of these coins, let me give you the harsh truth. With only 3 known specimens, your chances of finding another are extremely slim. But here's the thing. Nobody expected the first 3 to be found either, and yet they were. Error coins can hide anywhere, in any collection, in any jar of change, and they don't announce themselves until someone takes the time to look closely. The 1989 D Roosevelt dime might be the rarest of the rare, but there are thousands of other error coins out there worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars that are just waiting to be discovered. The skills you develop searching for the big prize will help you find valuable coins along the way. And who knows? Maybe you'll be the person who discovers the 4th specimen and proves to the world that miracles really do happen. When examining a 1989 D Roosevelt dime, here's what you need to look for. Check Roosevelt's profile for any sign of doubling, tripling, or quadrupling in the details of his face, hair, and ear. Look at the date 1989 and the D mint mark for multiple impressions. Examine the word liberty and the motto, "I in God we trust," for layered lettering. Weigh the coin. A standard Roosevelt dime should weigh 2.268 grams, so anything significantly heavier or lighter indicates a wrong planchet. Measure the diameter. Standard dimes are 17.91 millimeters, so anything larger or smaller is suspicious. Check for off-center strikes by looking at the rim. If part of the design is missing or if there's blank planchet showing where design should be, you might have something valuable. And finally, look at the reverse for the same quadrupling effects on the torch and branches. If you see any of these anomalies, stop, do not clean the coin, do not try to improve it in any way, just put it in a protective holder and take it to a professional immediately. The 1989 D Roosevelt Dime, worth $29 million, is also a reminder of why we should never underestimate the importance of mint errors. Some people think error coins are just mistakes, flawed products that should have been destroyed. But collectors see them differently. They see them as unique works of art, as historical artifacts that document the human element in coin production, as treasures that can never be replicated. The 1989 D Roosevelt Dime is the perfect example of this philosophy. Yes, it's technically a mistake, but it's a mistake that has brought joy, excitement, and financial security to the people lucky enough to find these coins. It's a reminder that perfection isn't always what we should seek. Sometimes the imperfect, the unusual, the unexpected is far more valuable. As we reach the end of this incredible journey through 3 of the most valuable Roosevelt dimes ever discovered, I want you to remember a few key things. First, always check your coins. You never know what might be hiding in your pocket, your car, your old jars, or your inherited collections. Second, educate yourself about errors and rarities so you'll recognize them when you see them. Third, have any suspicious coins professionally authenticated. Never trust your own judgment alone when big money is on the line. Fourth, join the coin collecting community. Share your finds, learn from experts, and enjoy the thrill of the hunt. And finally, never give up hope that you might be the next person to discover a coin worth millions. The 2001 D Roosevelt Dime worth $16 million, the 1998 D worth $23 million, and the 1989 D worth $29 million. These aren't just coins. They're dreams come true. They're proof that fortune favors the observant, and they're waiting out there for someone just like you to find them. So go check your change, examine your collections, and remember that every single coin deserves a second look, because you never know when that second look might change your life forever. Thank you for watching Error Coins Hunter, and may your coin hunting adventures lead you to treasures beyond your wildest imagination.